Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Sport with Jamie Davis and Jack Price. Now, no, we're not here to preview this weekend's race. Something else has happened in between the races in Austria. It is that Fernando Alonso is to return to Formula One and will go back to Renault for a third spell. The guy just doesn't want to give up, does he? He doesn't want to stop doing what he loves doing, which is racing. And, it's been 2 years in the making, you could say, since he left McLaren at the end of 2018. But Jack, I think we could both agree this was never really a surprise.
No, we've been waiting for this since he said goodbye to the sport in 2018. I mean, to be fair, even Sebastian Vettel said it in his goodbye speech to Alonso.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, see you when you return. So I think, although Vettel might not be here when he does come back, but in terms of it, we knew Alonso was always itching to go back into it. But it is a surprise for me that he has announced he'll be going back for 2021 because I always presumed that if Alonso was going to come back, he'd want to make sure he was in a winning car. And he's already said that he doesn't expect to be doing that in 2021, but hopes the regulations for 22 will help Renault push up. But yeah, it is a surprise that he's announced to come back next year, but it'll be great to have him back on the grid, that's for sure.
I think what I quite like about this move is that, certain drivers in the past, like Schumi when he came back, it was kind of like, why are you doing this? What have you got to prove? And I know Alonso hasn't really got much to prove. 2 world championships on his belt. So that shows he's obviously a world-established driver. But he is coming back with him finishing his previous stint pretty badly. So he's not really got anything to lose, has he? It's not like he's coming back to change his reputation. If anything, he couldn't get any worse after what happened with him at McLaren.
No, I think it's a different situation with what happened with Schumacher. I mean, obviously, I think if you look at when Schumacher did return to Mercedes, I think he's actually, when you look at it now, he's actually one of the people that must have helped kickstart this Mercedes dominance that's happened now. So as much as they didn't really win when Schumacher was in charge, he was probably vital for them getting to where they are now. In terms of the Alonso one, I think you're spot on in the sense that he didn't really finish the career in 2018 where he would have liked, and obviously McLaren didn't get up to that top of where we've seen Lando Norris get on a podium just this weekend. So I think he's coming back into the sport with why not give it a go? Why not try it again with Renault? And even at the age he is at 39, he is still going to be a dominant force in that car. I just hope that Renault give him the goods to actually see him fight against all these youngsters that are now in the sport.
He seems really excited about the regulations. And Cyril, the team principal, had actually said that there's a different Alonso coming back. So expect something different when he comes back next year. So I don't know. It's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, Renault at the moment are not in the greatest of terms, as we've already said, but Esteban Ocon as well. I mean, you can't ask for a better teammate for Ocon, in terms of advice, experience, and I'm sure that's what Alonso will bring to the Frenchman.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, we said last week that Ocon was talking about he'd love to have Alonso as his teammate. So I think it's perfect for him to have Alonso in there. Somebody that's won with the team, won championships with the team is only going to help. I did think it was interesting that he'd said they'd been speaking. He's been speaking with Renault in last year's Abu Dhabi race because it was like, well, Daniel Ricciardo hadn't even announced he was leaving yet, and they were already speaking to Alonso about the possibility of him coming back. So, as much as they might have moaned about Ricciardo leaving, they had been talks with Alonso. So you can't really moan about that. But look, Cyril has obviously got this main goal in where they want to go with Renault. I think it's taken longer than they would have liked because they're still not really where they should be. But I think having a sort of balance between a very experienced, 2-time world champion and a very young up-and-coming driver as well, I think is only going to help, and especially for 2021 when they're probably still not going to be where they need to be. So if they two can help push the team for 2022, that's only going to help.
How long do you think Alonso will be in the sport for? And also, down to how long you think he'll be there, do you think he can at least get a podium? Because Alonso mentioned that in the interview, didn't he, of his return? So clearly a podium is the aim here for Renault.
Yeah, again, I think with Alonso, he's obviously only spoken about the next 2 years, which means, he's obviously only signed that to an extent. He's only really looking for next year, which, I don't think they're going to get a podium. And then 2022, I think his main goal is 2022 in regards to where
World champions.
Well, can you imagine?
You never know.
But Daniel Ricciardo would be so annoyed. But in regards to that, I think, Alonso's obviously been given assurances. We said that when he joined McLaren, that he must be, and when he kept, re-signing and staying, he must have been given assurances. But I think this time round, he really had to be, because as much as he would have loved to come back in the sport, there has to be a reason for him to come back. He didn't need to come back. There had to be a reason and a sort of determination to feel he can win something or get on the podium, like you said. So he must have been given that, but yeah, like I think like we both would agree, it's going to be great to see him. It looked a bit weird with the new Renault colours. I have to admit, I was expecting the light bluish that he had back in the day when he was wearing that new Renault shirt, but
it's not right.
No, it didn't look good. It didn't look good.
Even with the orange, yellow, and white when he used to drive in that was nice colours, but that was only for a short stint. And yeah, he knows his past with Renault, and it's great to see. But how excited are you, Jack? Because I'm extremely excited. But he'll be 40 when he comes back. That's not young in F1. It's old.
No, I think they'll be getting like a young race, and then they'll be doing an old F1 race as well with like Raikkonen and Alonso, and they'll just get all the oldies back in and racing. But to be fair, I'm really enjoying it. There's been a lot of people actually in the last 24 hours have been saying it's going to ruin not bringing youngsters in, and saying that bringing Alonso back, is it really needed? But the thing is that as a fan of the sport, when an option for a really talented drive that you've watched growing up, it has the opportunity to come back, then for me, if Fernando Alonso came to a team that I was making and said I want to come back, I wouldn't hesitate. And that's
the only thing that you'd worry about is the budget.
Oh yeah, it's below my budget out. I'd have nothing left.
Proper bank.
I wouldn't even be able to fit DRS with the amount of money Alonso would charge me. But I just couldn't turn Alonso down. I think he's such a gifted driver, and as much as it may stop youngsters coming through, but you look at F1 nowadays, and it doesn't really matter. You have to be young, and you have to have a lot of money anyway. So I think that doesn't really matter to an extent. But for me, I'm personally really excited to see Alonso back on the grid, and if I'm more excited to see where he is on the grid ultimately. I think if he's back where he was when he was at McLaren in 2018, then it's probably not going to be as fun. But if he really is fighting Leclerc, Verstappen, Albon, Hamilton to an extent, Carlos Sainz when he goes to Ferrari as well, then that'll be an absolute pleasure. A young Spaniard in a Ferrari car against an older Spaniard in a Renault would be a real something to see. But yeah.
Be a bit awkward if Carlos Sainz win a world championship at Ferrari. He might just stick it at Alonso as a joke and go, "Yeah, I did it." I'm just letting you know. Oh well. Well, anyway, I'm sure when Alonso returns to the track and these youngsters from F2 and all that ask for his advice, he'll be like, back in my day, we didn't have DRS. I used to win without it. Yes, and we actually used to have engines that were loud. It's been a long time coming. Alonso, who's definitely been a big part of me and Jack's childhood during F1. He's been around for a very long time. To be honest, he's probably been there since 1960. I can't remember. But it's great to see him back. But what do you think at home, folks? Is Alonso third stint at Renault a good move? What do you think? Should he come back or should he stay out of the sport? Well, whether you like it or not, he is coming back. So subscribe, and of course, we'll be back very well soon on our channel. See you later.